Las Vegas Sayadaw, the contact between eye sensitivity and a visible object, eye consciousness arises. In the same way, because of the contact between Sota Dhatu and Sada Dhatu, there arises Sota Vijnana Dhatu. Because of the contact between Gana Dhatu and Gandhatu, there arises Gana Vijnana Dhatu. Because of the contact between Jiv Adhatu and Rasa Dhatu, there arises Jiv Avinyana Dhatu. Because of the contact between Kaya Dhatu and Votaba Dhatu, there arises Kaya Vijnana Dhatu. And lastly, because of the contact between Manodhatu and Dhammadhatu, there arises Manovijnana Dhatu. So the manner of teaching depends on the audience and their mental faculties. The Buddha considered the nature of the person he was teaching. He knew that if he explained impermanence in terms of the 5 aggregates, there would be people who would understand right away. Other people needed to hear impermanence taught in terms of the 12 bases for them to understand. Oh, I see. There's no person, no personality, no man, no woman. There's just nama and rupa. In still other cases, the Buddha needed to explain impermanence in terms of the 18 dhatu for his audience to understand. For meditators, the main point is to understand that no matter what you contemplate on, whether your meditation object is the 5 aggregates, the 12 bases, or the 18 elements, you need to come to realize their nature of impermanence, arising and disappearing, and so on. The Four Sacca. Now we go to Sacca. This is very important too. Now, all mind and matter, all paramatta dhamma, realities, will be explained in terms of the 4 Sacca, or truths. 1. Dukkha Arya Sacca. You already know what Sacca means. Dukkha means suffering. You already know this too. You experience it every day. In Pali, dukkha consists of du and kha. Du means contemptible, and kha means emptiness or void. Therefore, dukkha is a contemptible void. Another 198 sabbasangaha meaning is difficult to endure. If you understand dukkha as suffering, that's okay too. Why Arya? This means pure or noble. We should know why this dukkha is Arya Sacca. So what's the reality of dukkha Arya Sacca? It is the 81 types of lokya, mundane, sipta, the 52 cetasika, and the 28 rupa. Why do we call this Arya Sacca, or a noble truth? This is the noble truth of suffering, right? In terms of a noble truth, noble doesn't mean high or lofty. The truth isn't necessarily high or lofty, wholesome or unwholesome. What is true is called Sacca. Dukkha Arya Sacca is the noble truth of suffering. It exists in the 3 planes of suffering, but not in supramundane chitta. 2. Dukkha Samudayo Arya Sacca. This is the noble truth of the cause of suffering. Its reality is lobha cetasika. This craving, this lobha, is the cause of suffering. 3. Dukkha Nirodho Arya Sacca. This is the noble truth of a cessation of suffering. Its reality is nibbana. 4. Dukkha Nirodho Badagamini Patipada Arya Sacca. This is the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Its reality is the 8 factors of the noble path. We studied the 8 Maganga already, didn't we? Indeed, these 8 Maganga are the Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada, or the Noble Eightfold Path. I'd like to talk a bit more about why we call these Arya Sacca. Arya means pure or noble, right? Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, and Magga, these 4 noble truths, are understood by the noble ones. Not everyone knows dukkha, right? Sure, perhaps everyone understands dukkha. But maybe only meditators understand sankhara dukkha and viparinama dukkha. So these truths are understood or penetrated by the noble ones. That's why they're called Arya Sacca. Another meaning is that the truths were taught by the greatest noble one. Who started teaching these 4 noble truths? The Buddha, who was the noblest of the nobles. So truths taught by the greatest noble one are called Arya Sacca. 199. Las Vegas Sayadaw. Another meaning is that these are truths that will make you a noble one. In other words, if you understand the Four Noble Truths, you will become a noble one. You can't gain enlightenment and become a noble one without knowing or understanding the Four Noble Truths. Still, another meaning is that they are real truth. The Buddha said that birth is suffering, decay is suffering, disease is suffering, and death is suffering. Who can go against that? Right? This is real truth. Where's it come from? Craving or attachment. Who can reject this? No one. You have to accept it because it's correct. If there is no craving, then there is no suffering, which means there is nirodha, nibbana. This is supreme bliss. Who can reject that? No one. What do those who would like to gain enlightenment have to do? Try to follow the Noble Eightfold Path leading to nibbana. No one can reject that either. These Four Noble Truths can't be rejected because they are actual truths. So why do we call these Four Sacca? Because of these four meanings. The Buddha taught about the five aggregates, khanda, bases, ayatana, and elements, dhatu, right? He also taught about Sacca, because after you know Four Sacca, you gain enlightenment. As such, this teaching is very useful for people. See that, right? Some people have said that there's nothing in the Buddha's teachings that lies outside of the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha taught every day for 45 years. In the whole of his teachings, there is nothing outside of the Four Noble Truths. Everything is included in them. What do we see with these noble truths? With dukkha Arya Sacca, the reality is lokya chitta. There's no lokuttara chitta, right? With samudaya, the reality is lobha-cetasika. With nirodha, the reality is nibbana. And with magga, there is just the 8 maganga. Where are the 8 types of supramundane citta? They're not included here, right? See that? Where are they? After all, there is nothing within the Buddha's teachings that lies outside of the Noble Truths. We take off the 8 types of supramundane consciousness and their specific cetasika because we already took off the 8 maganga. Right? In other words, they are part of Magga Sacca. Lokuttara Citta associates with 36 kinds of mental factors, so when we take off the 8 maganga, that leaves 28 mental factors. These leftover 28 cetasika from the 8 types of supramundane consciousness can just be put into suffering because their characteristics are the same as sankhara dukkha. 200 sabbasangaha. The 4 phala citta associate with 36 kinds of cetasika, since they are part of lokuttara citta. In the context of phala citta, we can still put the 8 maganga into dukkanirodhagamini patipada because they are the results of magga citta. See that? I would like all of you to try to understand and practice to see these realities in order to gain enlightenment. Now, time's up. Thank you. Q. What about an arahant? What kind of Vedana do they have when they're not in Nibbana? Sometimes, Sukha Vedana. Since they have bodies, they have Dukkha Vedana too. They can also have Upekkha Vedana, but they don't have Domanassa Vedana. The 8 types of Mahakirya Citta are accompanied by either Somanassa or Upekkha. Right? They have 2. So, some have 2 Vedana, but not Domanassa because that's only found in unwholesome consciousness, which they already eradicated. Arahants can only have Dukkha Vedana, Sukha Vedana, Somanassa Vedana, and Upekkha Vedana. Q. What about plants and rocks, and things like that? Do they have mind and matter interaction? No, just matter. Today is April 11th, 1999. I would like to continue talking about Sacca, the Four Noble Truths. As you've all learned here, we can briefly call the Four Noble Truths by the names Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, and Magga. The full names are long, right? But please try to remember these 4 short names. What is the reality of dukkha, suffering? The reality is all existence in the sensuous sphere, the form sphere, and the formless sphere. Lokya, mundane, consciousness, cetasika, and rupa are called dukkha. What do we see when we practice meditation? Just the mundane, right? We may see our mind, mental factors, or material properties. We see dukkha, right? Why do we see dukkha? We already studied this. It is because all of these citta, Sika, and rupa are being oppressed by 201 Las Vegas sayadaw arising and disappearing. This is why we call them dukkha. So lacking the supramundane, all mundane phenomena are suffering. With samudaya, the reality is lobha, or craving. Craving is the cause of suffering. And what is the reality of nirodha? It is nibbana, or the cessation of suffering. Many people say that Buddhists just talk about suffering. But there's not only suffering being talked about here, right? The Buddha also taught the cessation of suffering, or supreme bliss. This isn't talking about suffering. Nirodha is nibbana. Magga is the cause in order to reach the cessation of suffering. The cause is the 8 factors of the Noble Path. It's not the cause of cessation, mind you. Rather, it's the cause in order to reach the cessation of suffering. So we can see here that the first and second noble truths, dukkha and samudaya, are mundane. The third and the fourth, nirodha and magga, are supramundane. See that, right? Mundane and supramundane. Suffering and craving are mundane, and nibbana and the Noble Eightfold Path are supramundane. How about cause and effect? What's the cause here? The second noble truth, samudaya, is the cause of the first noble truth, dukkha. The fourth noble truth, magga, is the cause in order to reach the third noble truth, nibbana. The second and fourth noble truth are causes, and the first and third noble truth are effects. See that? Just cause and effect. As I said, there is nothing in the Buddha's teachings that lie outside of the Four Noble Truths, but the Noble Truths just have cause and effect. Buddhism is about cause and effect. Now, with respect to Noble Truth and Ultimate Truth, what is Ultimate Truth? Chitta, Cittasika, Rupa, and Nibbana. These are ultimate truths. The Four Noble Truths are ultimate truths. See that? What should meditators follow, do, or avoid if they really want to gain enlightenment? We should know this. Every meditation center, including this one, has rules written down. Maybe you can't read the ones we have written on our walls here, because they're in Thai. But those who come to practice meditation here should follow certain rules that prevent us from declining in our practice. They are designed to help us improve our concentration and grow our knowledge until we reach our destination. This is very important too. 202. Sabbasangaha. So there are 7 things that I would like you to remember. These 7 things will help prevent you from declining in your practice. These are especially useful for meditators. The 7 rules for meditators. 1. Not to be fond of busyness. What does this mean? Some people like to do this or do that. They have many things to do. They enjoy staying busy. They have so many things they want to do. But that type of person cannot improve their concentration and wisdom. We should not be fond of busyness. Some people like to entertain themselves by drawing or playing games. This isn't good for meditators trying to gain concentration. When you come to practice meditation at a retreat, you don't have to do anything else. Don't do anything else. 2. Not to be fond of gossip. As all of you know, most people like to talk and talk. They love to talk non-stop for hours. Right? Meditators should not be fond of doing this. We need a silent retreat with no talking. 3. Not to be fond of sleeping. Some people sleep more than 10 hours. How can you gain enlightenment that way? Meditators coming to a meditation center like this one for a silent retreat should sleep no more than 4 hours. That's enough sleep for a meditator. In daily life, though, 6 hours is sufficient. Some people sleep for 6 or 8 hours during the night but then take a nap during the day too, right? We shouldn't do this, especially as meditators. Don't be fond of sleeping. 4. Not to be fond of society. Some people are always going to birthday parties, this thing or that thing, chasing after their social life. When they do, they neglect their spiritual life. As such, they can't improve their concentration or their wisdom. They cannot reach their liberation. 203 Las Vegas Sayadaw. Don't be fond of society. Instead, reduce society. Many people go to weekly parties and out to restaurants, but this isn't good behavior for meditators. 5. Not to fall under the influence of evil desire. Even when we're at home or spending time at a temple or meditation center, we can get lost in evil desire. I want to see this, hear that, smell this, or I want to eat, I want to wear that. We get lost in thinking about colors, smells, sounds, tastes, and touches. This is evil desire. We get lost in thinking about getting our hands on things we want. Meditators should not do this. Instead, what should we do? Just concentrate. When we concentrate our mind on our primary object, evil desire has no opportunity to arise. The only opportunity we have to control our desire is when we're practicing meditation. Even if we close our eyes and try to shut out the world of visual objects, evil desire constantly arises anyway. 6. Not to have evil friends. Friends are very important. If we associate with evil friends, they will induce us to do like them. Maybe we won't follow their ways at first, but given enough time and influence, we likely will. They will give us bad ideas and guide us in unskillful directions. Don't have evil friends. This is very important. By this I mean don't have evil teachers either. Some teachers expect things from you. That's not a good friend. A good friend and a good teacher will not expect anything from you. 7. Not to stop halfway. This refers to practicing meditation and gaining some concentration but then stopping. It's not good to do this. Keep trying until you reach your goal. Don't stop halfway. These 7 things are very important to understand. Please follow this guidance. As all of us would like to realize the Four Noble Truths, we study and understand them intellectually, but we have not yet experienced them by path knowledge. Perhaps we understand suffering and the cause of suffering, right? But we don't really know the cessation of suffering yet, 204 Sabbasangaha, right? We just know through inferential knowledge at this point. It's not yet intuitive knowledge. To help us realize the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha offered some discourses of guidance. He gave us 4 factors to help us become a stream enterer, to gain the first stage of enlightenment. What do we need? Please remember these 4 things, as they are the 4 essentials for becoming a stream enterer. The 4 essentials for stream entry. 1. Association with the virtuous. This means good friends and a good teacher. We need these, right? Good people. 2. Listening to good doctrine. Good doctrine means that it should be concerned with realities that lead us toward enlightenment. 3. Giving proper attention to the Dhamma. This means that we should have proper attention with anything that comes across our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. If we still see a man, a woman, a permanent thing, mine or yours, these are concepts, not realities. When we're not seeing realities, it's wrong view. When we have wrong view, mental defilements can arise. It could be craving, hatred, anger, conceit, or perhaps jealousy. This is because we are still seeing concepts and not realities. When we see just mind and matter in everything, just 5 aggregates, we don't see mine or me or I or you. There's no personal belief and no ego delusion. No mental defilements arise. This is proper attention. Just mind and matter. Seeing is just seeing consciousness. It's not me. When we see mind and matter, we don't see some sustained thing that persists. One moment at a time, there is a rising and disappearing. We see these realities, these characteristics. This is proper attention. Impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, uncontrollability. Not ego, rather non-self. If we see this, it's proper attention. 205 Las Vegas Sayadaw. We should have proper attention. With whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, those who really want to gain enlightenment should have proper attention. 4. Conducting oneself in conformity with the Dhamma. If we would like to become a stream enterer in this life, we should conduct ourselves in conformity with the Dhamma. So what do we have to do? In brief, the Dhamma is concerned with morality, concentration, and wisdom. When we fulfill these three things, we gain enlightenment. Conforming with the Dhamma means that we need good virtue or morality. At minimum, our 5 precepts should be firm and pure. Without pure precepts, we can't gain enlightenment. If we can't fulfill our precepts, we can't gain concentration. We can't gain enlightenment without concentration. We need to practice meditation every day to train the mind to gain concentration. Some people have good virtue and good concentration, but practice only samatha, tranquility, meditation. They may gain concentration, but it doesn't conform with the Dhamma. So what do they still need? Wisdom. They need to improve their wisdom step by step. I'm talking about vipassana knowledge. Try to practice meditation to gain knowledge. So this is what it means to conduct ourselves in conformity with the Dhamma. If we really want to gain enlightenment, we need morality, concentration, and wisdom. So 4 kinds of things. What numbers do we need? What numbers do we already have? 1. Associate with the virtuous. 2. Listen to good doctrine. Don't listen to stories. Listen to doctrines about the 5 aggregates, the 12 bases, the 18 elements, the 4 noble truths, the factors of enlightenment, and so on. 3. Give proper attention. We already study and know. How about your attention? We have to train the mind. 206 Sabbasangaha 4. Have morality, concentration, and wisdom. If these 4 kinds of things are fulfilled in this present life, you will become a stream enterer. These are the 4 factors to gain the first stage of enlightenment. The 4 kinds of meditators. For the most part, if we lack proper attention, our actions, speech, and thoughts will go in the wrong direction. But when we have proper attention, it leads to moral consciousness. Consequently, we will have wholesome thoughts, speech, and behaviors. Among meditators, there are 4 kinds of persons. 1. In the old days, the Buddha or the Arahants would teach a few words, or a couple of sentences, and the student would gain enlightenment right away. The discourses talk about this. After just a few words, the student would realize the noble truths and become a noble person. 2. In the old days, the Buddha or the Arahants would take an hour or so to explain something in detail. The student, in turn, would understand the reality of impermanence and so on, and then gain enlightenment. Nowadays, we can't find these 2 kinds of people. Today, there's no way for students to simply listen to the Dhamma and gain enlightenment, even if we listen for hours. These 2 kinds of people existed only in the time of the Buddha. We know about these people because their enlightenment stories are in the discourses. 3. The person has to study and practice and then gains enlightenment. We call this person guidable. This is people like us. We need to study first and then practice. After that, we can gain enlightenment. 4. Even if the person practices meditation every day, there is no way for him to gain enlightenment in this life. However, this practice of meditation can be the cause for enlightenment in the next life. 207 Las Vegas Sayadaw. So we have these 4 kinds of meditators. We're the 3rd type, right? We study and practice, and can then gain enlightenment. We can't just listen briefly or in detail. We can't gain enlightenment that way. The 4 modes of progress to deliverance. Some people ask, why do people who practice meditation have different experiences? Some don't have to practice for long before they gain enlightenment, while others practice for a long time before they see results. And some people suffer in their practice while others have it very easy. Why? We have 4 kinds of deliverance. I'd like you to keep this in mind. What number might we be? These are the 4 modes of progress to deliverance. 1. Painful progress with slow insight. Insight means knowledge, right? In this case, practicing meditation is very hard. The person suffers a lot while sitting in meditation. The insight is slow too. It takes a long time for them to gain knowledge. Why is the progress painful? Because they have so much mental defilement. We studied the 10 kinds of mental defilement, right? They have a lot of greed, hatred, and delusion. Why is there slow insight? Because their 5 mental faculties are very weak. This is why it's slow. Remember the 5 mental faculties. They are faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. These are very weak, so insight is very slow. 2. Painful progress with quick insight. In this case, painful feelings keep arising and arising when meditation is practiced. There is a lot of suffering, but the realities and the characteristics are soon realized. As such, enlightenment can happen quickly. Even though the person has to suffer, he might practice meditation for just a couple of weeks or a month and gain enlightenment. 3. Pleasant progress with slow insight. In this case, there's not much suffering to be endured while practicing meditation. Sitting or walking meditation is very pleasant, with little or number 208 sabbasangaha painful feelings. However, gaining knowledge is very slow and attaining enlightenment takes time. 4. Pleasant progress with quick insight. In this case, there's little suffering when practicing meditation. The meditation is pleasant, with insight coming quickly. The person understands and realizes realities and the characteristics of mind and body. In not so long, they gain enlightenment. So after you gain enlightenment, what kind of person were you? You will know for yourself. How about you, Marjorie? Painful or pleasant? Q. I think I'm number 1. That's okay, right? You'll gain enlightenment eventually. Some people cry because the pain is so bad. Others sit in meditation for a week and feel rapture and happiness. When they go to the meditation master to report their experiences, they're very happy to tell about it. Sometimes it doesn't take so long for people to gain enlightenment. So why painful progress? Many mental defilements. Why slow? Mental faculties are weak. Quick? Mental faculties are strong. We need to understand these things. So now we know the conditions to become a stream enterer, the different types of meditators, and what we have to do as a meditator to make progress in our development of concentration and wisdom. We should follow this guidance. Don't worry, you can gain enlightenment in this life. Q. When you talked about ultimate truth, where is Vedana in that? Look at suffering. It includes mundane citta and the 52 Cetasika. Vedana is part of dukkha. Vedana is sankhara dukkha. Why is it dukkha? Because it is just arising and disappearing too. It's changing all the time. This is viparinama dukkha. Pain feelings are suffering as well. This is dukkha. Dukkha. Do you remember when we studied the 3 kinds of dukkha? 209. Las Vegas Sayadaw. Let's look at lobha. This craving is the cause of suffering, but it too is just arising and disappearing. This too is dukkha. It is sankhara dukkha. Craving doesn't last long before it changes too. This is suffering in change, or viparinama dukkha. However, lobha is not dukkha dukkha. Craving is not painful. In talking about the 4 Noble Truths, we learned that lobha is the cause of suffering. We call it samudaya. Samudaya means cause or condition. Soon we will study dependent origination, which is about cause and effect. All causes are samudaya, but we should understand the context. Are we talking about the 4 Noble Truths, about dependent origination, or something else? If we're talking about dependent origination, craving itself is the cause or the effect. We will study this very soon. For now, though, we know the 4 Noble Truths: dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, and magga. Q. If the 4th Noble Truth is dukkha nirodhagamini patipada arya sacca, why are we calling it magga? Where does it say magga? Even though the name doesn't say maganga, the reality is the 8 factors of the Noble Path. This is maganga. We just call it magga, or the way. Any more questions about the 4 Noble Truths? If you have no questions, we'll start the next section. It's a profound teaching of the Buddha. 210.